2016 has been a year of big hits and huge misses in the comic book movie world, and with another 7 CBMs scheduled for 2017, there's bound to be a few Rotten Tomatoes along the way. So which studio will rule 2017, and which movies will suck balls? Join us now for an in-depth look at the upcoming superhero schedule, starting right now.
The year kicks off with Lego Batman, and it's impossible to see how this won't be a smash hit. Following the success of the Lego movie and some very amusing trailers, Warners have pitched this at fanboys and kids alike with a perfect combination of adult-friendly humour and quirkiness that is sure to make 2017 a worthwhile endeavour for DC, even if their other movies do misfire. Which they probably will. The great thing about this movie is that it can break the fourth wall and make fun of the Bat franchise, and boy does it have some tasty material to work with.
Fox's solitary effort arrives in the shape of Logan in March, and it's sadly Hugh Jackman's final appearance in the role. Or so he says. The bloody mongrel. It's hard to know exactly what to expect from the new movie. We know it's moody and R-rated, so we'll finally get to hear Wolvie swear like a sailor. Because that's what's been missing from his solo movies up until now. Not a credible antagonist, not the streamlining of a massively bloated cast, and definitely not the iconic costume. No, the fucking F word is where it's all fallen apart. On the plus side, we will get to see him stab bad guys through the face, though we're also getting the clumsy introduction of a replacement clawed mutant who'll no doubt be shoehorned into the increasingly confusing X timeline. Time for an X reboot? Maybe over at Marvel?
Speaking of Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 heads up another big year for the studio. Arriving in May, the new movie seems to be a continuation of the weird, wacky, and wonderful tone of the first, but can it remain fresh and engaging following the original surprise success? You would have thought so. The main cast are all returning, as if they'd turned down that sweet, sweet Marvel money. And there are a few new additions too. Snake Plissken will double as both Star-Lord's dad and a planet with a face on it. No, really. He must have an enormous ego? Rocky will also turn up in an undisclosed role. Personally, I'm hoping he's Groot's dad, going by the name The Law, simply so he can have the line, I am the law. Expect more popular music, more team-building exercises, and of course, plenty more of that trademark humour.
We then get DC's first live-action film of the year, Wonder Woman, who arrives in June. The new movie looks to be a mashup between the wartime tone of Captain America, the first Captain America, and the fantasy elements of Thor, with a woman who's wonderful, and who also has a badass theme song. There are still lots of question marks surrounding Gal Gadot. Yeah, she's hot and she was easily the best thing about BVS, but can she carry a movie on her own? Going by the trailers, Patty Jenkins has crafted a lush, action-packed movie which looks very promising. The only downside being the inclusion of Lucy Davis's crappy humour. We really didn't like her. The addition of Captain Kirk seems to be a smart one, however. This is a guy who's well equipped for these sorts of away missions. Will the movie make pine nuts out of us? And will he be returning for future movies? The answer to these questions very much depends on the quality of Wonder Woman. Can DC afford 3 not-so-great movies in a row?
It's a huge one next as Spiderman Homecoming web slings into theatres in June. Sony are co-producing, although thankfully Avi Arad has been consigned to the scrap heap where he belongs. So far we've only had set photos to give us an idea of what's in store, but what we've seen has been rather awesome, especially Bokeem Woodbine's Shocker. We can only hope the filmmakers recreate that iconic scene from the animated series. Shocker! You can't escape me! What we do know is the cast is gigantic, which initially isn't a good sign, especially when there's rumoured to be several villains. But at this point, it's difficult to see how Marvel could mess this up. They handled a huge cast perfectly in Civil War, and Tom Holland was an absolute delight. He captured the fun, nerdy, yet solemn nature of the character perfectly. The Doopies couldn't be more excited for this movie, especially since we have an actual teenager playing Spidey now, not some creepy middle-aged emo who loves dancing for some reason.
Fast forward to November, and Marvel's final movie of 2017 will be Thor Ragnarok. 4 long years between sequels says a lot about the previous Thor entry, but the inclusion of the Hulkamaniac should go some way to livening things up. Marvel are loving their team-ups right now, and an intergalactic buddy movie featuring the 2 strongest on-screen Avengers should be one hell of a show, even if they haven't really been buddies up until this point. One thing we're hoping to find out is the location of the 6th and final Infinity Stone. Is it buried in Mjolnir, on a distant planet? Or has Bruce Banner had the Soul Gem lodged up his arsehole all this time? It would explain why he's always so angry. With elements of Planet Hulk factoring in, this could prove to be an unexpectedly satisfying entry into the MCU. Colorist green? Colorist intrigued.
Closing out 2017 is the big one, Justice League. And the film has a monumental task on its hands. It's difficult to see a way back for DC and Zack Snyder if it's not critically and commercially successful, especially at the rate they're losing directing talent. They were so desperate to convince us of the lighter, jokier tone that they took the odd step of releasing the teaser trailer way early. And whilst we can't deny it looks and sounds great, DC have misled us horribly in the past. Remember being convinced Suicide Squad would be badass? So it's with extreme caution confidently approach the new movie? Will Justice League be the final nail in Snyder's coffin? Or his redemption? Will Superman sport a mullet? And more importantly, will J. Jonah Jameson get to crack some more skulls? Only time will tell. And as a DC Comics fan, I'm praying to the old gods and the new that they get this right. You hear that, DC? I'm fucking praying. If it goes wrong, they run the extreme risk of fucking up CBMs for everybody else. So don't do it.
So here's a question for you, dear viewer. What's your most anticipated CBM for 2017? And which movie do you think will suck the most? Be sure to tell us your thoughts in the comments section below. And check out these other Doopie videos when you're done. Thanks for watching.